the Bake It Yourself store's how-to guide to chocolate molding.
I'd like to introduce you to some basic equipment that you will need to mold chocolates. Of course, the most important thing are the chocolate molds. Here we have different kinds of molds that you can use to achieve different results. For instance, here we have what I would like to call Leon molds. These are great on their own, or you can actually use them to make pieces to decorate your cakes and your cupcakes. Next, we have boxes. Now, these boxes are really useful if you want to make gifts. They make very, very pretty gift boxes. Lollipop mold. You'll notice that there is actually an area here for you to put in the plastic lollipop sticks. A chocolate transfer sheet. If you've been to a cafe or a restaurant, sometimes you see chocolate mousse or chocolate cakes with chocolate pieces with designs on it on the sides of the mousse. Well, this is what they use to make it. Something like this. And finally, we have something that is a cross between chocolate molds and chocolate transfer sheets. This is called the chocolate stir mold. And what it actually does is, like in this case, it's a heart shape. You pour the chocolate in, and when it sets, when you take it out, it will be a very, very pretty heart-shaped mold with designs on it. These are the other equipment that you will need. Of course, you need the chocolates. Now here we have non-tampering dark chocolate. But what that means is if you want to mold chocolates, you can use any kind of chocolate, couverture as well as compound. But if you use couverture chocolate, you will have to temper it. And if you don't want to temper it, you can actually use compound chocolate, which actually does not have cocoa butter. Compound coatings. These are, well, something like candy melts. They add color to your chocolate piece. Following that, of course, you need a whole bunch of different sized brushes. Over here, we have edible ink marker pens. Now, if you want to color your chocolates, I would always recommend using powdered color. Chocolates and liquids don't melt, so you don't have that danger if you use powdered color. And if you want to flavor it with all kinds of flavorings from the store, and you can also get those outside as long as they are oil-based. And finally, I find these very useful actually, toothpicks and a Q-tip. I'd like to start off showing you how to do a two-tone mint rayon like this, a teddy bear mint rayon. Take some compound coatings, put it in a microwavable bowl, maybe about that's for one kind of teddy bear. Now I want another kind to be light brown. Please bear in mind that compound coatings are not chocolate. They're not actual chocolate. They have a slight vanilla taste, but they are not chocolate. And this is the final color I want, which is the dark non-tampering chocolate. And I'll put a little bit more because we're going to be using it for other molds as well. Now I'm going to show you how we melt them. I'm going to show you how to melt the compound coatings first. Put the microwavable bowl into the microwave. Now there are two ways of doing it. You either microwave these, or you can actually do it through the traditional double boil method. I will do it through the microwave method because double boil, you have to make sure that when you boil it, the steam does not come back down to touch your chocolate, because then you basically have to throw all the chocolate away. So I'm going to put this in the microwave. Now your microwave will be very, very different from mine, as will your bowl. So you have to gauge yourself. But this will give you a good guideline. I put mine on medium, which is just a little bit above warm. You have slow, medium, and high, so better to go with medium first. And I put mine for 20 seconds. So I will literally count to 20. Always do for a shorter period, because if you have to, you can always put it back in the microwave But once when it's burnt, you have to throw it away. And these things burn quite easily. Now, if you have a look here, you can see that some of it is already melted, right? But not all. So I'm going to put it in for another 5 seconds. And this is what you should do. If you take it out and you find that it is not the texture that you want, pop it back in again for 5 seconds interval. And try again. Like I said, it's better to do this many times than to rush through it and burn it. Now, as you can tell, compound coating is much softer now. Okay, this is the kind of texture that you want. Okay. But at the moment, I want it to be a little bit softer. So I'm going to put it in one more time. Okay, that should be enough. Now, I do find that there are times when you keep putting it in and taking it out, and somehow it doesn't quite get to where you want it to go. There's a little trick that you can use. Now, you can tell this is quite good. If you can see this, this is what you want. You want it to rise like this. And it's fairly easy to stir. But I want to show you a little trick that you can do to help yourself along. Oil really helps chocolate. So in this case, as I showed you just now, hasn't quite reached the consistency that I want to get to. So this is just regular oil. You don't need it. It doesn't have to be, olive oil or anything fancy. In fact, I suggest that you don't use olive oil because the flavor is too strong and overpower your candy melts. What I'm using here is just corn oil. You can use butter, you can use Crisco, anything is okay. So just dip it a little bit and just put it into the bowl. One drop at a time. Like I said, it's better to put a little at a time than too much. And then stir it again. And you can see that it starts to get creamy almost immediately. This is a very, very, very useful thing to know. Look at that. This is perfect. Now we're going to put the colors onto the molds. Just turn it around. Decide where you want to put the color. In this case, I want to color my bears. I pick up the compound coating with my brush. And I'm just going to dab it in. And these molds must never be washed with detergent because the molds come with their own gloss. And when you wash it with detergent is harsh, so it will strip away the gloss. What you should do after use is just to flick out any remaining pieces of chocolate and just buff it well. And if you find that if you buff it before you use it and after you use it, your molds will be very well maintained and your pieces will get better and better each time. It will become shinier. So after we're done with this, I'm just going to lay it aside. You can either put it in the fridge or you can just leave it out for it to set. For something this thin, it will probably take about 5 to 10 minutes. See, it's all set. We've put it in the fridge for about 5 minutes. You turn it around, you can just use a clean finger to feel it. Oh, it's all done. So now, you want to put the rest of it to fill it up. I've already melted the non-tempering dark chocolate according to the method I mentioned just now. Just take up some. You have such a big space, you can actually easily use a spoon. Lay it on flat. You just pour it in. And you just hit it. Now the reason why we hit that is so that we can bring the air bubbles up to the surface. At the same time, we level it out very nicely. Then put it back into the fridge and we'll take it out and we'll show you the end result in a little while. Remember the teddy bear? The one here? Okay. When it's ready, you can see that it starts to move away from the chocolate mold. So what you do is put your hand here and tap it up. There, it's done. This took about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes to set. This is really good to put around the cakes, or to put on top of cakes, and a very nice gift as well.